And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the European Invitational of Guns Off Boom. I'm Lee Demon Smith, and joining me once again on the desk is our lovely Stannis and Lethal. So we're moving on to the winner bracket finals. Best of 5 time between Jug and YAKUZA. You can see them setting up behind us. YAKUZA just had a wonderful high, I think, safe to say, with their comeback against back-to-back. The momentum is with them right now.
Yeah, it's carrying on from that last qualifier like we spoke about before. We weren't really too sure due to the environment how things were going to pan out, but it looks like they are going to continue on to see how it goes. And like you said before, it is the best of 5. And these two teams, you know, this really will be a slobber knocker, and it will be a taste to see exactly how much they can control under the pressure between these two teams. And you remember, even if these two teams do lose, they do have a second chance, but I think they would rather still win this winners finals knowing that they've only got one more best of 5 in that grand final to win, rather than the 2 best of 5s coming from the loser bracket.
And Stannis coming into this one, Jug, aka King Knights of Honor, whichever you want to call them. They carry 2 names, don't really know why. They come into this one 2-0 in the first game against Forza, but just like back-to-back, YAKUZA took down Jug 2-0 just the other week in the online, easy for me to say, online, offline, we're offline now, online previously. Just last week, 2-0. So can they go and do it in a best of 5?
I feel like it's really hard to give a prediction. I'm saying just a...
This is what the analyst disc is all about, Stannis. You can't just be on here and sit on the fence.
Knights of Honor, I'll say this, I believe them to have a stronger base power level, but it feels like the YAKUZA has been just, their dynamic has been going straight up. And there's no telling if they're on the level of the Knights of Honor from the previous ones or even beyond them right now. So we'll just have to see.
Yeah, and we saw obviously earlier on from Jug, they are very vocal themselves. Obviously, we just saw it with the guys behind us, YAKUZA. Strong in-game call-in, strong shot call-in, strong communication, strong language. That goes with it. But we also heard that from Jug earlier on in the first game.
Yeah, in terms of communication, obviously, it's all up in the air at the moment. They've got the comms morale, the momentum to bring this up. But in-game, it's slightly different. Now, don't get me wrong, with Jug as well, we have seen how aggressive they are in-game. But the thing is, with YAKUZA, when they've both played against each other, I noticed that the strategic aggression from YAKUZA seems to be a lot more aggressive compared to before. So the one thing I want to notice is, at an offline tournament, will they continue that? And I feel like they are the sort of team who would rather, you know, push to make them make that first mistake rather than be passive waiting for it to happen.
Yeah, and I think they're both realizing that actually, you know, in these offline environments, you can gain the mental edge by being that loud, rowdy team and maybe get it in the minds of your opponents. You can see Lord Mano in the middle. He's talking right now, and you may even be able to hear him, actually. I don't know how much it is picked up, but good communications, clearly, between these teams, discussing exactly, setting up what they need, what they want. You're going on sniper, okay, I'm going to be in the face, we're going to do this. They're setting the strategies out. This is what you need to do. This is what you want, a strong leader, right, in these moments.
Yes, of course, the team spirit is essential and crucial, and I feel that not only in the offline events...
That's how I like to play.
Yeah, that's true. Not only in the offline events, but during the cups. On Discord, guys, this is very important for the team to keep together and keep their cool and have the same sort of energy going through them. But I would like to see, apart from the strategies of both teams, I would really love to see a 1v1 from Johnny and Lord Mano from just the games that we saw, and see who is going to come out victorious, just like a battle of aces.
I like this though. Look at the different body language, you know, from the team. Very relaxed, I think, Jug. They're safe to say. Obviously, they've just sat backstage, watched this match play out. These guys, you know, they're pumped. They've just come back from 2-1. They're hyped up. Sometimes that can work against you.
Yeah, it depends on the kind of situation or scenario you're in, depending on the circumstances. With this team as well, as I mentioned before, you know, they've got the momentum, but sometimes they can get overzealous, you know, maybe too aggressive, make those little mistakes where they want to try and force that into them instead. But that was a very key point you just mentioned. We have seen some teams where if they're very high morale and they want to try to continue things from where they left off, it can be okay, but also very difficult. It's like I said before, this YAKUZA team, the strategic aggression is more with them compared to Knights of of Honor, where they like to play it just a little bit more passive, but to at least wait for them to make their first mistake. It could happen, but these starting strategies on each game type is going to mean the world to them.
Well, we've had the team vetoes come in. It is going to be Atrium to start things off once again on the control point. We saw Jug playing that earlier on today. Paradise Island onto Farming Complex, then Military Warehouse and Wild West the decider. We're going to go over to our casters. It is Ketchup and Jackie.
Cheers, man. You're the best. Anyway, we're back on the desk now. Atrium being our next map. We get to see a little bit of Paradise Island momentarily, which is personally one of my favorite maps because it is like, you think you've seen aggressive teams, and then you see a team play on Paradise Island, which is like not even the same ball court, you know. But when it comes to potential results, again, it really is going to be quite a recurring statement, but it is hard to say, and that's because we spent so long seeing, you know, Jug Knights of Honor being like the best team, especially early on. They were like the undisputed. It was Jug Knights of Honor. They're the only team that have won 2 consecutive weeks in the Go 4 Cups, and I think that does carry with it some weight. But what also carries weight is how well you can play when the chips are down. And as of very recently, I think YAKUZA really have been able to take that title as, you know, the most clutch team of all else. And clutch is like the most important factor of an offline event playing for big bucks. But here we go, it's going to be map number 1, Atrium. And right now we see Lord Mano, I mean, in quite classic fashion, spilling first blood.
Yep, it wouldn't be the opener without big man Mano kicking it off to start with. So that B site obviously going to be a hot point of contention. But Excellence does go down. There is another trade as well. A double kill comes out from T-Mac. He's up close and personal, but still giving it with that sniper rifle.
Now, point-blank sniper shots are one of the hardest things to pull off in the entire game. We saw it try there, unfortunately falls down. Doesn't manage to get the little bit of execution required for those point-blank shots because you've got wind-up time as well. Challenging a Porcupine is no easy feat. Obar gets 2 frags, so that's going to keep them alive a little bit. Again, things are super, super close. The fight for B begins, and right now, it does belong to Knights of Honor.
Jug looking good as they start to roam around a bit, but this is exactly what we saw last time. Very heavy fight towards B. It is that center point. This is where you expect to see sort of a trio of members work together as a little unit, try and build around each other and deny big plays, but there is a small resurgence. Excellence and the rest of his squadron starting to spread out, trying to fight back. They gain control of that C site. They've also got A, and they might just get themselves a B as well.
And I think that's because, yes, they lost the fight, but they've done so much damage, they were able to sort of reverse the momentum. You know, normally when you have a team wipe, it's the end of the world, it may seem, because of the points they get, but they're weak and you respawn nice and healthy. That's a double kill as well. Magat has been a fantastic player in this map so far. Loses to Ilos, so that's a little bit unfortunate. But just like that, 20 points separates them for another time, and I think we might be seeing things this close quite consistently, I reckon.
I'd say so. The teams we have at this point as well, as we said throughout the entire tournament, are so back and forth. They're all going to be going for those trades constantly, and we're seeing that represented once again in game, just neck and neck the entire time. There is a small lead now. One squad starts to peek out ahead.
Wow.
Jug trying to go big, but instead it's Excellence that does the damage. Nice nade as well. That's the double kill. Single-handedly defends the A site, but now he's got support.
And I think the time it took for him to actually win that fight and regain A, it's going to be, it's going to be quite a risky play now. Do we try and fight back? Do we try and take the point? Ilos is now going to eat that 2 versus 1. If they can take unreturned damage, which they will, they can take B and then fight the A for a second time. Jani forced into a 2v1. Lord Mano finishing that one off, and it's no surprise. You got to really watch out for those situations. But I feel like YAKUZA, they're looking good. They only have a little bit left to go, and this map might be finished.
Storm ahead, really. I mean, this is going to be 1,000 points now picked up at this time. Knights of Honor, maybe they shouldn't be lounging around catch-up. They should start getting their heads in the game. Dobar tries to does the damage as he hits one man quite strongly. Jani as well comes through on towards Excellence. They're getting the kills, but can they get the points? Can they get the site control? That is going to be the most important factor as of right now. 2 sites to their name. It's all up for the Battle of B, though.
But even though the fights have been going in Knight of Honor's favor, because the control belonged to YAKUZA, the natural climb has kept them into the point of a leader. I think it might now be the point of no return. 40 left to go. It takes so long to even take the point. I don't think this one is possible. I think YAKUZA are going to breeze off that first map. And that goes to show why control in control points, I mean, the clue is in the name. If you hold more points, it does not matter if you lose those fights at the end.
Yeah, that is very true. It all comes down to how much you can gain from that early map control, how you're going to be able to split yourselves up and actually lock that down. And that was displayed very nicely. Once again, it's the same old story. There's that constant fight for B, but you could see maybe it's the calling. Maybe it literally is just Mano being so vocal, distributing those members and keeping them active. They're constantly bouncing back from A and C, making sure they've got at least 2 points for the majority of the game, and they basically did.
But again, it goes back to the fact that we saw basically no fights happen at C, and that's because it was a 1v1 here and there, but it was a 1v1 that belonged to YAKUZA consistently. Now, if they were losing fights, in many ways, it didn't matter, because if they lose a fight, that means they have to give up some of the control point capture time, but by the time they've respawned, only 1 point has gone away from them, and then they can basically just clean up and then continue to defend really well. You know, being able, you almost think in Guns of Boom that it's all about the aggression, all about being as in your face as possible, and I think on control point, it's not about that at all. 1v1 clutch is the most important in this game mode than any of them. And that's because in moments there where we saw Excellence win a 2v1 and he held A, the time it took for them to basically respawn and then try and fight for it again allowed them to take B, and it just wastes time all over the place.
Yeah, it's that preservation as well. You need to know when to just back off, stay alive, rotate round, get yourself onto another point. Even if you're low HP, if you're left in a scenario where there is a constant fight, your teammates have called, look, we've got 3 members here, we know there's one not there, there's a site completely empty, sneak in, go for a back cap, be able to gain those extra points off. If you're a low man, it's not worth risking the fight all the time, and that was displayed. Communication was on point, they look good, but now they've got to reset themselves, and we get into saying, you were saying should be very spicy.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Paradise Islands. I'm actually very, very excited to see it because I feel like right now, YAKUZA are displaying a higher amount of, I think, last ability and clutch combined.
Yeah.
Now on Paradise Island, the combat doesn't really fluctuate in the middle of the map all the time. You know, it's all about having the center of the point, but then on this map, the best defense is a really, really good offense. And you can control the spawns, and as we can see right now, it's going to be Jug Knights of Honor spawning on the blue side. That is the spawn point that is the easiest to control in competitive. So I actually think I favor YAKUZA here.
Well, let's see how it is going to go down as we get ourselves into the action. A big early opener from Ilos as he punishes Excellency, but there is 3 frags, 4 now, as they bounce back into the lead. This is going to delay that respawn time as well. They're staggered on the respawns, and they're going to be able to build off that point control early, catch up.
Now, Ilos does manage to get one of those kills on Lord Mano. Yes, he died, but that's because of the damage over time effect of the Porcupine. A damage over time in this game is dangerous, because if you're, you know, within that kind of like 100 HP range, you're pretty much guaranteed to die as well. Yeah, unless you have a health kit, unless you can somewhat stagger it. And trades, we've seen how vital kills are, so if you trade it, no progress was made. All that's going to happen is they respawn before you do.
Well, it's kept neck and neck right now, about 150 to 170 in terms of the split of the points, but a little bit of a boost comes into effect as well. A nice headshot comes out, quite cheeky from Ilos. He is trying to play behind that rock angle, constant little bob and weave peeks as he goes for the constant faces, and he does score himself a double kill with that sniper rifle.
Yeah, and there's going to be a little bit of natural wind-up time on that sniper rifle, so picking your shots might not be as easy as it looks, but that was an excellently placed shot as well from the Divine King. The headshot giving a bonus of those 12 points at the same time, basically double the points you would get from a regular body shot. So we emphasize how important headshots are in this game. Excellent. Sees the sneak attack. Oh, dodges the grenade. I actually like the fact that he didn't stand still to take his shot at all. He was continuing to move. I think he read the grenade toss there. And Dobar wasting both grenades. Nothing left to go.
Oh, Dobar is being chased as well. He's got his tail between his legs as he sprints away, but goes back for the fight instead. He has got that dot on him, but he barely stays alive. Somehow goes down in the end there to Lord Mano, and things are absolutely crazy on this one. So there is things going off across the board as the damage comes back through Janny onto Excellency, but there's the response you needed.
Yep, Lord Mano does a nice amount of jobs right there, but Johnny looking good too. And you can see, the second you spawn, you have a very limited lifespan. You are going to die, and there is no two ways about it. The key is going to be what you do with the life that you're going to be given there. Excellent. Can he get the 1 kill off? And he actually contributes. Doesn't get the kill itself, but it's going to be enough damage to keep them in the lead. Magat, I think he's going to lose the 1v1 because he missed the... No, actually, they both missed the Porcupine shot. That is super unfortunate.
Captured point A.
There we go. No one currently on A, but it's going to be a bit of a death sentence for Divine King running in by himself. That's why he's trying to do the damage. Try and keep T-Mac weak. Allow the rest to come in. Excellent tries to sneak, but the 180 turnaround is well placed. Divine King. That supportive fire from the Barracuda has been a thorn in their sides right now.
Yeah, they're staggered. They're more on the fence right now than Stannis was on the desk because they need to try and do something soon. They're trying to push their way back through. Oh, the sniper shot as well from Ilos as he's just bobbing and weaving still consistently. He's all over the gaff and he's just finding frags across the board.
I love how accurate these guys are being with the Porcupine. You may think that it's easy to hit those up-close shotgun shells. It really isn't when everyone's moving as fast as they are. And if you miss a shot, it's unreturned damage. Unreturned damage means many of these weapons close to one shot. So if you miss and they don't, you're dead. And there's really no two ways about it. Going in with supportive Barracuda fire, Divine King looks to score one, but unfortunately doesn't get a headshot either way. And that is going to be punished swiftly. But I think it's not going to be enough work. I feel YAKUZA, they favored heavily on Paradise Island because I do favor the red side. I think you can be the aggressor. I think you can sort of maintain control the way these guys have done. And just like that, it's going to be another guaranteed win. They simply cannot come back from the lead that happens here. There we go. Another win. 2-0. Is this going to be a 3-0, Jackie? Is this what we're going to be seeing right now?
Well, they've crushed it. I mean, they've walked in, absolutely stomped all over them and just shown what damage they can do. They just look tremendous, and they really understood how to play that map effectively as well. You could see the angles that were in use. There's so many open lines of sight. It's basically a clear vision the entire way through the middle. Those snipers, constantly in effective angles, always playing far enough back, where the rest of the team was roaming in basically groups of 3 and just punishing people, and it looked smart, Ketchup. I think fair to say the teamwork is absolutely on point.
Now, quite a few respawns in this game are universal. Quite a lot of the team sides, the bases, they tend to be universal as well. Paradise Island is one of those exceptions where it definitely isn't. There is a distinct difference between the two spawn points, and I really feel like Red, they kind of have that advantage on that side of the map because you spawn in a building, you have a lot of natural cover. By the time you've kind of left the building, they can't really gauge what side you're going to be leaving the spawn from. Whereas on the blue side, which unfortunately Jug Knights have found themselves on, when they would spawn, you can basically see immediately what side they're going to run, which as the aggressing team who is trying to do damage before they even reach the point, I think if they spawn with no cover and you spawn with cover, that's just a natural advantage right there.
Yeah. Lord Mano as well, I think it's got to be said. Another game, 15 frags to his name. We saw him averaging basically, I'd say, around the sort of 14-15 mark. He's been really a top performer. Not only the in-game leader of the side, keeping them on their toes, making them rotate, and proving how to really uproot his force and get his squad doing what he needs, but just individually as well, above and beyond. This man is a mad fragger, he's got the brains, and he's got the brawn, and he looks good too.
And being confident enough to be the shot caller, that's really a multitask, a man of many talents. It's not an easy feat, especially in this level of competition, to be the one that's making all the call-outs, because if something goes bad or something goes pear-shaped, and it's your fault, you know, if you make a call and it goes bad and it loses at the game, that's kind of on you. So I think that's a lot of responsibility to take on board, as well as being very talented. Not a lot of players actually can do that. You know, sometimes there'll be someone on the team that makes a lot of shot calls, and they're not necessarily the star fragger for that reason. It's so they can focus on other parts of the game, and the people that are just naturally talented and just kind of rack up those kills, of which in Guns of Boom it's very important because of the natural bonuses, you can kind of leave them to it. To take everything on board is very, very impressive. Now, it's going to be farming complex, potentially. This could be the final map, and we haven't seen a whole lot of this today either, but again, kind of going back into a little bit of a history lesson, this is in the best of 5 rotation in our Go 4 Cup, so this, and it's the map you have to play too. This is when you kind of reach the end of our tournaments in the Go 4s, you have to play this. So every team in this setting has much experience. But again, I think it kind of goes back to what we talked about before. Would you rather in this setting when there's this much money to play for, and if YAKUZA win this, they're in the grand finals. On the winner's side too, they have that kind of safety net. Would you rather fight the demon you know or the demon you don't know?
Yeah, it is going to be a bit of a mental battle as well, because it comes to the fact where their heads are going to be drooped on Knights of Honor. You know, they haven't really been in this situation before as well, especially on a live stage in an environment where there's a lot of hustle and bustle. There's a lot of hubbub around them. They need to be on the ball. They've got to reset themselves. And as of this point, you kind of have to ignore the first 2 maps. Take this as a best of 1. Mentally, come back in with a fresh outlook, because they might defeat themselves, and Guns of Boom, it's about that confidence factor.
Taking every map as a best of 1 when you're on the back foot like this, I would definitely say is the solution, because that's one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is our only shot of winning now is to win 3 maps in a row against a team that just 2-0'd us. And the second map was a comfortable win. It was not as close as we saw on the first time round. So with all these things factored in, I think approaching it 1 map at a time is going to be the solution. But speaking of which, we might be in our final territory here in this Winners Finals, and because this is a double elimination tournament, if you get Grand Finals Winners side for 40 grand, that is the ultimate comfort zone.
It's the dream, it's what they want to achieve, and the first blood is found. It's a good start as Mugate does carry on. Excellence as well, though, goes down in the end. So YAKUZA are trying to spread themselves through as they roam through that underpass, get themselves into a better position to try and contest and pick up these points. It's very close already, as most of these games have been in the early game. All the 1v2 coming through, and Jug do get the advantage there on that B point.
Now, Jug Knights of Honor, they did have an amazing start in the first map, but I think in the other two maps we've seen played so far, it's definitely gone in the favor of YAKUZA instead. I just feel like they're a little bit more on the ball. I think they're more sharp, and I feel like the second the map starts, you know, there's no acceleration. It's all top speed, whereas Jug, they could have almost started almost like a 70%. They're not playing bad, but they're just simply not playing as well either.
Need that courage to come through soon. They've got to wake themselves up, splash some water on their faces, strap those boots on and absolutely give it as they try and push their way through. On the B point right now, it's the 1 versus 1. And the Divine King, he just headers a nade off his face. His lips have been blown to bits and things aren't looking great.
And the reward for that is going to be a triple kill as well. And even though we've talked about how the points are the most important objective, if you get a triple kill, that's still going to be something you can't turn your nose up at, and that's going to be a domination also. The respawns are going to be somewhat staggered now because they're dying one at a time, and now they've got to make a choice. What do we fight for? Because we cannot trickle in one at a time. They're not winning the 1v1s. Lord Mano gets a 2v1. Can he get an extra? Let's have a look. Another fight coming through. Johnny gets one. Excellence drops. Divine King with a wonderful Barracuda shot. The Desperation Grenade. Swapping to the Assault Rifle. I like it, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. And oh no, the body block!
That is not what you want to see. The suicide, that is really a bit of a mistake play that's come through. That's going to be a reduction of points as well.
I'm glad we got it on Spectator, though.
Yeah, it was good to catch it. Shout out to Rob.
Yeah, shout outs to the Spectator man behind the scenes. But that said, this is a steady lead. You know, YAKUZA, they just basically need to maintain this, right? They need to continue to do what they know is working. And what they're doing right now is just winning every single fight. Excellent. Manages to get one. Can they bring them back in? Somewhat starting to take things back. They have a little bit more point dominance. The pressure on these points is going to get a little bit thicker now. Oh, the 2v1. T-Mac manages to take one out. Lord Mano, in typical fashion, scores another. And T-Mac and Lord Mano, this is the kind of eternal 1v1 that we're seeing right now. 40-point separate. Hang on a minute, we're going to see a comeback on our hands here.
It's so close now. Ketchup has got into a position where actually the next couple of frags could decide this game pretty predominantly. 1,000 on one side, 980 on the other, as C-Point is going to be captured as well. That gives them the boost they need. It's neck and neck towards the end here. They need to frag until the cows come home here on Farmyard.
And it takes them ages to get the kill, which allowed, hang on a minute, the 2v1, McGap gets it before falling down, and we're still hyper close. They get a kill and they can take the point. They have to take it as quickly as possible because they need that natural climb. I really don't know how to call this just yet. One major fight is going to decide this map without a shadow of a doubt. There's the headshot. Needs one more. Gets the Porcupine. Divine King. Wonderful accuracy. And is that enough? The final kill ticks down, and there it is. It's going to be a victory for YAKUZA at the last second. A 3-0 result. But that, at the last minute, was impossible to call.
5 points of difference there that decide that victory, and that is just lunacy. The fact it was so close. At one point, you could just say fair game. YAKUZA, they've walked in, they're looking confident. That's a smooth 3-0, but no, towards the end, it was so neck and neck. It could have really been either team that dominated, and Knights of Honor for Jug, you've got to feel that's going to be a bit of a soul-crushing loss.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you right there because they have such a high reputation of being the team a lot of people expected to win. Now, they're not out of the tournament. You know, they're now in the losers bracket and they can get back into grand finals. It just means that in grand finals, they're going to have so much more work to do. But I gotta say, I feel like it was Divine King at the end there, the final play where it was a 1v1 on point A. With 5 points separating the two teams, whoever lost that 1v1 unfortunately kind of lost the game for their team because of just how much a kill actually grants you. But it wasn't just any kill delivered, it was 4 shots back to back and every single one of them critical. Every single one of them a headshot on the Barracuda and then 3 shots on the Porcupine. If he had not hit critical on any of those, with the exception of maybe the last one, I don't think he would have survived.
It's absolutely wild to think about as well. Just once again though, really, that time it doesn't even come down to just over all the point control because it was so close. It's those impact frags in terms of the bonus points. That's the difference maker. And all that YAKUZA had, that one advantage, was the odd couple of triple kills that were sprinkled in there. The few extra bits of bonuses that they got, when it comes down to that last point, that last little tick where you get the bonuses from the control points, it gave them those extra 5 points to win it.
Yeah, we so regularly see a dominant display on control points, which is why we so, I think, often say that kills aren't anywhere near as important. But I feel like when it's as close as that, it's like you said, right? Who gets the headshot? One kill that wasn't a headshot was the difference right there. If one of those Barracuda kills wasn't a headshot,
if we didn't see the suicide, you never know.
Oh my god, you know, I didn't actually think about that. You lose 15 points for a suicide. So I don't know, maybe I'll have to go back and check the tapes to see how pivotal that was. But speaking of which, we have plenty more time for some analysis. Over back to the analyst desk.
Yes, thank you very much. And I can tell you it was 6 points that separated the teams. So I hate to say that could have cost them. That could well have cost them. But wow, a clean sweep from YAKUZA. Nobody saw that coming there, no doubt about it, Stanis.
Absolutely amazing. I was holding my head, and I really felt like that last game maybe JUGG is going to make a comeback. It felt like they were really relaxed, especially Johnny playing, basically lying down on the chair. And I see that those two matches basically probably woke him up.
Yeah, definitely woke him up, Harry.
I think that was definitely an understatement. It was so close, but obviously I know we'll go into game 3 later on, but with the first game I especially want to speak about is the aggression. I said before the match even started was the fact that they're both aggressive teams, they've both got the momentum around behind them, but I always feel like YAKUZA is this kind of team where even though they'll play a lot more aggressive, they'll try and force the first mistake on you rather than be passive and let that happen to themselves. And it worked every single time. And then there's so many decisions they made which was absolutely incredible. I think I just felt like after they used to get 2 of the points, instead of like going for the third one, they tried to make Knights of Honor as comfortable as possible for them to actually take that game.
And I noticed from the start when the two teams are setting up, clear differences. Obviously, we were talking about the body language. From JUGG's point of view, it was a discussion. From YAKUZA's point of view, it was a command. It was one man. It was Lord Mano giving the instructions to his team. It seemed to work out excellently because at this point, at this stage, when you're at a prize tournament, you want a leader to step up and lead you, and that's exactly what happened here. And on the first map, this, I believe, on Atrium, I think was JUGG's map. It was their choice, but Lord Mano took the bull by the horns and led his team to victory.
I agree that with the control points, it's really important for the team to be going as one, so that they have a direction and that they have some sort of sense in what they are doing. And if there is even a slight doubt, even some discussion, I agree, it could be completely fatal.
And in this second map now, of course, since Knights of Honor lost that first game, when you've lost your first game type, that's already a hindrance in like your momentum, how you want to go into things. But the main thing I want to talk about here is in this second map, we saw YAKUZA always, you know, always trying to get the numbers when they go for the hill, but once they get set up, they always have one in the hill kind of going back and forth, doing a 50-50 to keep Knights of Honor actually guessing. But when they've got 3 members kind of flanking around to see exactly getting enough info on the opposite team, you always have someone like Divine who would sit back and be sniping, putting plenty of damage on. And with his ratio going 10 and 7 with 11 assists, those 11 assists came from the fact that he was headshotting and body shotting every person who tried to enter the hill. And of course, YAKUZA were just doing the cleanup. But we did see Knights of Honor do try and flank from the back to in packs of 3. We were having one person causing a distraction to make them think they are pushing one way or another. But YAKUZA just weren't falling for it. There was so many different strategies and counter-attacks they were trying to make. But I felt like YAKUZA had the answer to every single one, especially on this map.
Yeah, I mean, and you saw there's the last Lord Mano with the glasses on there, you can see, getting the high fives to the rest of his team. He's gave the instructions, but as we moved on to Farm Complex, it was very, very close. At one point, you thought, oh, this is easy to go at the bag. They were 100, 150 points ahead, but then T-Mac came in, the boys from JUGG delivered. Unfortunately, Durbar did have that one grenade error, which may or may not have cost them. I mean, there's a lot of things that happen throughout a game, so you can't just point out that one point. But they brought it back within 6 points of a finish there, Stanis. You said yourself at the start, we get some very close finishes, but 6 points separating a winner bracket final is, you know, they've moved on to the grand final now. 6 points difference.
It really felt like JUGG was just picking themselves up. I mean, with the best of 5, it really feels like you have a lot of time ahead of you, even if you lose the first battle, but then you don't even notice it, and it's already the 3rd battle, and it's everything is on the line, and it was a really hard road back from that game. Even if JUGG won, they had to do 2 other matches and win them, and it seems like they just didn't manage to pick themselves up in time.
Yeah, I felt like during that game as well, you noticed that YAKUZA, it was a really weird setup. Had A and C control, but not B at all. I felt like they're trying to bait Knights of Honor into that middle map the entire time. That's how they got such a huge lead. But Knights of Honor was like, hold on, I kind of seeing what's going on here. We'll go for either A straight away, take B afterwards, have a setup. So at least that way we can keep them at bay at C the entire time, which they did. It was great, but it was just way too late for them, which was such a shame in the end. But so far, YAKUZA really showing us that after that last go forward, they're counting the momentum forward.
Absolutely crazy stuff. So, of course, it does mean that YAKUZA are now in the grand finals. Who's going to join them? We're going to be dropping down to the losers bracket now. It's going to be back-to-back up against Forza after the break.